A national strike in Italy has disrupted public transport, schools, and health services across the country. Italy's largest trade union called the strike to protest the government's draft budget for 2026. The trade union says the far-right government of Giorgia Meloni wants to spend too much on defense and not enough on public services.
They want more investment in health and education. Wage rises to meet the higher cost of living. In Rome alone, thousands of workers walked off the job. The city's iconic Colosseum packed not with tourists, but protesters.
People can't make it to the end of the month. This budget doesn't raise wages or allow people to retire. It doesn't strengthen public services.
Money for salaries, not weapons, reads this banner. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has cultivated warm ties with US President Donald Trump and agreed to up Italy's defence spending to 2% of GDP, in line with NATO guidelines. That too has angered protesters.
The President of the United States is attacking our European welfare model. We're protective of our model because healthcare and public education are priorities for us. We don't have external enemies, as they say. We have no one who wants to invade us. We should invest our money in the priorities of this country, which certainly aren't weapons.
Railway staff have joined the strike, leading to disruptions across the country. But limited train services are still running. Hospitals and the postal service are also affected. Protesters hope when Parliament debates the draft budget next week, their message still rings loud and clear.
Well, I'm joined now by journalist Seema Gupta. She is in Rome. Seema, good to see you. How is the nationwide strike affecting daily life in Italy?
Well, it mainly had an impact on the transport as well as the education sectors. I mean, particularly train travel. We saw lots of cancellations. We saw delays. And when it came to the metro lines, particularly in Naples in the south, as well as in Milan, the financial capital, we saw some metro lines that was just closed. And so on top of that, public schools, many of them were forced to cancel classes. That's because teachers were on strike, but also people couldn't actually make it to school because of the transportation issues. But essentially, this strike was called up for by Italy's largest trade union, known by the acronym CGIL. And they say that really the 2026 draft budget law is not fair. And that's why they took to the streets. Some 500,000 people participated in over 50 demonstrations throughout the country.
And Seema, talk to me about the trade unions and their main concerns about this new budget.
Well, they essentially feel it's not addressing the key problems that are facing Italians and Italian families. Things like low wages, as well as things like security at the workplace. They say instead it's leading to cuts to healthcare, cuts to education, which should instead be prioritized. And in fact, they've referred to this draft budget law as being unfair, wrong, and dangerous. And they say the government is not dealing with the realities on the ground. They're talking about a country that doesn't actually exist.
And what about the government? How is it responding to all of this?
Well, the government, essentially the far-right government of Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, when this strike was called for some time back, it was called for at the same time. Another smaller union also had another smaller strike just about a couple of weeks ago. And when these two strikes were called for, they mocked them because they said, why are the strikes always happening on a Friday? They simply want a long weekend. And in fact, what they say is that the budget law, according to them, is serious, balanced, and responsible. And they need to put in austerity measures because they have to deal with Italy's massive debt, which they blame on previous governments and not them. And instead, they feel they've put in place certain measures that are going to help families and going to help young people. So for their part, they feel that this budget law is actually something that is dealing with the issues facing Italians. The Deputy Prime Minister and Transport Minister, Matteo Salvini, who is part of Meloni's coalition government, for his part as the Transport Minister, he felt that the strike action today had a limited effect in terms of inconvenience for travelers, and he wasn't too disturbed by that.
All right, journalist Seema Gupta with the latest in Rome tonight. Seema, thank you.